everybody. Welcome to IndieCade's Beyond Screens. I am here with my co-host, David Spira. We host a podcast called Reality Escape Pod, and we are on episode 7. And today we have a super special guest with us, Mark Larson from Trapped Puzzle Games.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome, Mark.
Thanks.
Mark designs and runs these audio escape adventures, which, do you want to tell us a little bit about what that is exactly?
Yeah, totally. We've been working on these for about a year now. We have a series of kind of a mix between an escape room and a role-playing game, sort of. They are, we call them escape adventures because sometimes they take place outside of a normal room, where teams of players work through a series of puzzles and riddles and clues to solve some sort of adventure. And it's all done, we do it all online, typically over Discord through audio chat. So we've got a live narrator that narrates the room, kind of describes what you can see, what happens to things that you want to try. We do supplement with some images as well, so often like maps of areas or visual puzzles and things like that. So it's if you've seen Escape This Podcast or listened to Escape This Podcast, it's a very similar kind of idea to that, where you're going through kind of this escape room in your imagination.
So you started doing this about a year ago. What could possibly have prompted you to...
The world changed a year ago.
Did something happen a year ago?
Yeah, so I'm with Trap Puzzle Rooms. We do have 2 physical locations in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and with 9 physical escape rooms there. They're all super cool. If you're in the area, let us know. Come by. We'd love to have you. But yeah, about a year ago, we had to close our locations down and then try to think about what things we wanted to do. We had a laundry list of ideas that we kind of wanted to tackle, but didn't know if they'd be profitable or if we'd have time to do them in between working in our physical rooms. And so, we kind of made lemonade out of lemons there. And we made these audio rooms. We've got some puzzle hunts that we've made at local parks and outdoor art sculptures in the Twin Cities. Some mail order puzzles, which we announced a new one last week. Lots of fun, different projects that we've now been able to tackle.
You kind of popped up into my world when shortly after we had started the Hive Mind and we got expanded the Room Escape Artist team by 20 people and started reviewing all these online games that were popping up everywhere. People just kept coming back and raving about you guys. And we were trying to spread out. We've actively tried to spread out and make sure we review lots of different things from lots of different companies. But ultimately, the Hive Mind isn't, there's no assignments. People email us asking hey, can you send some reviewers to review our game? And Lisa runs the Hive Mind, but she's not like J. Jonah Jameson being bring me a picture of Spider-Man. She's just hey, does anyone want to play this game? And if nobody wants to play it, it doesn't get reviewed. And if 1 or 2 people want to play it, or Lisa and I think it really needs to get reviewed, I'll jump in and be hey, I'm playing. Can I browbeat anyone into joining me? And on 1 occasion I couldn't. So the Hive Mind just kept coming back and saying, Trapped has a new game, we're playing this. Which has not happened with very many companies this past year. And y'all have had an incredible output as well.
Very prolific over this past year, I have to say.
But I think the most prolific.
When I've been stuck in my basement for a year, there's not much else I have to do than write new audio rooms. Also, I'll show art to our artist Gabe. He's our artistic director. He does all the art for them. The amount of stuff he's been able to turn out to has been just amazing. So yeah, it's
because it's not just audio. You guys also, there is kind of a visual component where you guys have these beautifully rendered graphics, and they're all custom designed for each game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the art style, even, it's you almost, I was kind of surprised, not surprised, but a little bit that they were the same artist, because the style really changes with each game to really kind of convey the mood, because you do have very different themes and feels and atmosphere for the different games.
Can we pull some of those up?
Do you want to show those now? Yeah, we can show those.
Yeah, let's just do that before we dive in.
Give me a
play
sec.
a
Let me get ready to. Okay, I'm ready. If you want to.
Sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me one. Whoops.
From the Spirit Train.
Give me one. Sorry. Give me 1 second. There we go. It takes yeah. It does a weird thing when I switch over to when a guest starts screen sharing, but we are on track.
So yeah, this one's from our most recent audio room that we released a couple weeks ago called Spirit Train. Heavily inspired by the work of Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki. That kind of fantastical, otherworldly story that you kind of get sucked into. So yeah, this is our name Spirit Train. This is the titular Spirit Train, with the crazy arms and bay window and all that sort of fun stuff. Gabe's made this. There's a large house that you get to encounter. An outdoor vista with a big building. In our holiday whodunit room, we went very Seussical. And that was the fun part of working on these, especially with Gabe, is that he brings a very a vision to these that often, there's nothing really. When we started designing it, nothing that was Seussical about the room. It was just kind of it's a play on the song "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer." If you haven't played it yet, that is the pun. And a fun little holiday whodunit where you're trying to figure out which reindeer has run over Grandmother Winter. And then Gabe was like, it'd be really fun if we did like a Grinch, Whoville style art with it. So we leaned into that. And we kind of tweaked the script into that direction. With our Halloween room, Monster Smash, he went very more Edward Gorey with the art. So it's this very black and white with some line drawing style that I think fits that really well.
It's got a little bit of that Rusty Lake kind of feel to it too, which is cool. Yeah.
I can't believe all of this is from one artist.
Right?
I know, like, you've told me this before, and every time I look at them, I'm just dumbfounded.
And every time I see them, like, because I'll play it with some. I don't even know if I have any like really bad, like my. I had to take drawing and rendering in grad school for 2 semesters, and that was an absolute failure. I do not have fine motor art skills at all. But I'll like draw it out with like some Sharpie, the things I need, or find clip art to put things together just for the initial testing, mostly so that Gabe can play it and kind of get a sense for the room and what we're going for, and then we'll talk about where we want to go, and he'll bring back line drawings that are just brilliant and amazing. So yeah, we want to do this like cutaway dollhouse kind of the experience here, because it was about exploring this house, and I think he captured it brilliantly.
So you actually kind of tell him what your idea is for each image, right? Like, and then he does, or is it like he plays the game and then he kind of creates them? How does that synergy work?
It's a back and forth. There's sometimes like for Spirit Train, I went through and we found like 30 or 35 spots where we could do an image. That experience lends a little bit more cinematic in kind of its narration.
It feels almost like the images are more there for storyboard than they are even for gameplay. They're there to kind of put you into a feeling.
Yeah, that one especially.
And it's extremely effective. I was really amazed at how realistic it seemed with just audio narration and like a few images. Like it really, his art really conveys the atmosphere and the mood of the game. It was, I was shocked at the end of it when you kind of come out of this weird trance and you're like, oh, you like it is transportive, the art. So I'm glad you showed us some of these.
Yeah, I've got. Oh, do I have one?
Show us more.
I gotta show you Private Sport, because this is the one I think you worked on the longest. All in this like pastel style drawing. You are pirates trying to get rid of a curse and exploring this like Pirates Cove kind of settlement. But yeah, just the I know the what's the point click adventure now called?
Monkey Island?
Yeah, that one. Like inspired by that, we had that kind of feeling going on. But yeah, to like your question, sometimes I'll have like, here's a list of art that we want to do for this, and then Gabe will sometimes like combine 2 art pieces together, or like identify something else he thinks is really important in the art. We've gone back and forth with that quite a bit of how much art is too much. We don't want to overwhelm people, but we also want to make sure that what we provide is really important, and we get kind of that sense and feel of the experience. Gabe is really good at taking, if I would like, I think we need an atmospheric art piece here, but there's also a puzzle nearby, of merging those 2 together and figuring out how to make an image that conveys both of those kind of together. He is kind of a wizard in that realm.
I've seen this image before, but I have not seen it on the screen that I am on right now, which is gigantic. and I'm just the level of detail that I am picking up in this.
Yep.
Just kills me.
I
I wish
we
I was
wrote
this good at anything.
Yeah, back when we were releasing these, we were releasing ones every 5 to 6 weeks. And the first week of that is kind of me designing and creating a prototype, and the last couple weeks are training. So really, we only have about 2 weeks to get art turned around. So his ability to turn these out fast is he's amazing.
That's insane.
Stop making me more impressed.
Can I also add that, David, I don't think we've done a single podcast or show or any one of these. There's not one that goes by where Monkey Island is not brought up in some form or measure.
Monkey Island always comes up because it's the Monkey Island is like I feel like it's like the fish that crawled out of the water and grew legs in the immersive puzzling world.
From the primordial soup.
Yeah, everyone is descended from it.
Awesome. Do you have more slides? Is this?
I think that is it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
Let me know when you're gonna stop.
Oh, that's me. I gotta do that.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm done.
Okay, we are back. Let me just adjust. Oops.
Yeah. And yeah, Ben is 100% great. I mean, there's so many from that era, but I feel like in any given genre, there is always there's something that stands the test of time in a very different way, and I feel like Monkey Island lives on as this shining example of an era.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I just want to say hi to the chat gang. What's up? I see Teresa, Satan Puppet, Deadhead's Ben, Okapi Kid. What's up, Augie?
Yep. Hey, Augie.
And yeah, thanks for joining, guys. Augie says, I was full on betting that there was a Monkey Island mystery y'all were going to reference. Noticed yesterday I'd heard it referred to in I think 3 episodes so far.
Yeah, it comes up a lot. It comes up so much.
Oh, Matthew, what's up? Enigmata. Am I saying that right?
Enigmata, I think.
Enigmata? Yeah. Oh, Teresa says we're all diehard Mark fans.
That's one of the cool things about these. I've been able to meet so many cool people running these. We've played with people all around the world. I think I've hit all 50 states now. I'm getting pretty close, at least if I haven't. But yeah, that's been one of the really neat things.
That's super cool. If you haven't hit all 50 states, let's figure out which states you haven't, and we'll have to go hunt down those people.
I should have kept track long ago. That's the problem, is I didn't keep track.
Yeah, that's been kind of one of the fun parts about this. And I think one of the things that's really cool about your approach, which you're gonna run a little bit of a game for us in a few, so we'll be able to show to folks. But one of the things that you've done is you've come up with an incredibly affordable way to produce what really are ultimately immersive games. And they're immersive in the way that things kind of were in their own right before the pandemic. If you're a D&D player or just any kind of tabletop role-playing player, that's what we're talking about here. This is basically tabletop without the dice rolling, tabletop role-playing without the dice rolling, and a professional game master, which is always nice. Having played with professional game master DMs in the past, it's special. It's nice. It's cozy.
Have you ever considered including dice rolling in these games ever? I'm one of those people, I like dice rolling. That's part of what I like about playing RPGs is doing the skill checks and things like that. Not skill check, but just, I've played other ones where it's just like, I'm going to do this, and you'd be like, okay, roll, and then depending on what you roll, it's basically how brilliantly successful you are at it. So it, even if they roll like a 1, you could still succeed, but in a not very graceful way, I guess. I don't know.
We've talked about lots of things that we can do with these. I remember in Super Squad, which is the third one we wrote, I wanted to try making a puzzle that's a GIF. because we have the ability to show
Mhm.
lots of images. And like, what if we do something that moves and changes? Will that work? Will teams like it? And the number of teams that still like we've put one I think in every room since then. Not that it's been like a goal. It's just they're really effective. Of people going, oh, it moves, as if they've never seen a GIF or GIF before, depending on where you're from and how you call it. But yeah, like we have Heist Baby uses the different channels. We split teams up into channels and make them communicate things in there.
Because you run them on you run the games via Discord.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, trying to find new ways that we can incorporate what we can do with the limited tech that we have. Dice rolling, something we've talked about. There is dice rollers on Discord. We've started incorporating music. We incorporated some music in Spirit Train. But yeah, trying to figure out what those different aspects are, and then how can we make it so that all of our staff that run these also can run them effectively and not have too much that we have to like train them in on or anything like that.
I love the GIF puzzles. Like I saw it for the first time in excuse me, in Spirit Train. And I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen I'd never seen that. I thought it was a brilliant move. Yeah.
I think Augie incorporated a GIF puzzle in the ARG for Recon this past year because it was riffing off of our 404 page for the Recon logo, which is in the corner of Peih-Gee's screen right now. So this eye, because we were doing a whole Secret Society vibe.
Look, I've got.
Yeah. So the 404 that I had originally made was just the eye blinking 404 as a GIF, which I felt very proud of, and Augie went and turned it into something considerably better.
Did you see all of my Recon gear that I'm sporting?
Yeah. So should we play a game?
Yeah.
Play a game if you want.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
I will preface this by letting everyone know I wrote this on Monday, and Gabe did one piece of art for it. So it is not as polished as a lot of our other things are, but if you haven't seen one of our rooms yet, this should give you a good idea of kind of how they work.
I can't believe you wrote this for this. And I told Mark, I was like, Mark, I do not want you to write something specifically for this. I'm like, if you could just pluck out a short, like 10 to 20 minute thing from any one of your other rooms, that's totally fine, just to give people a taste. And he's like, I just don't think anything can be pulled out like like that.
You were a madman. I very appreciative.
I had a busy weekend, and so I let it like percolate in my brain. I was like, what can I do? And I had a couple ideas, and then I sat down on Monday to start writing something, and I did a completely different idea, and pulled it from my puzzle graveyard, which we can talk about later if we want. All that, that design trick of being able to turn out something fast. But yeah, totally. Let's dive in. I need to share my screen again. Are you ready?
No,
I'm excited to see some puzzle necromancy.
That's right. That's totally what it is.
Okay, I am ready.
Sounds good. Sharing. There we go. Oh, and yeah, and this is, I told David and Peih-Gee right before this will be the first time I've run one of these on camera, and I'm very animated when I run them, but no one's seen it before. So I'm going to try and hold that in, because if I do what I normally do, I will give away literally everything about this room.
I'm always I watch these videos of voice actors, like behind the scenes, and they are so animated, and you can see like it's like all the expressions of the characters talking is exactly like the expressions on their face. Yep. And so that's what I am imagining that you are like behind the scenes when you run these, and I can't wait to see.
Sadly, I don't have any voices in this one, but I do, especially Spirit Train. There's a lot, like, one character stretches and yawns a lot, so there's a lot of stretching that goes on, and there's a cat that leans in and does this every time, just from me. So yeah, there's definitely physicality that comes with these characters. Just I don't know why, that's just where they come from.
It just gets you into character.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Even when I was doing the J. Jonah Jameson voice, I was like...
This is such a treat. I can't believe we get to see a little behind the scenes. Like, I'm so excited.
I have no idea what's going to be like. I apologize to everyone with whatever weird facial expressions. And, like, there's a lot of pointing. I do a lot of pointing. Like, oh, what do you want to do? And I point at my wall. There's nothing there. So you'll see that. It's very weird. All right.
It's going to be great.
This one I am titling The Atlantean Adventure. All of our working titles are really bad, and if we can't think of anything better, that's what they turn into. So that's what we're going to stick with. All right.
Do I need a pen and paper?
At the end of this, we're going to name the game.
Perfect. Good. If you have a better idea, let me know.
Yeah.
Excellent. We typically think alliteration is very important, so we tend to go that way. That's our default.
I agree.
Yep. All right. Here we go. After years of research, reading countless ancient texts, and exploring the vast oceans of the world, you've done it. You're finally here at the lost city of Atlantis. Just off the coast in the Atlantic Ocean, you find a small collection of buildings connected by an interwoven channel of tunnels. But mid-dive, your submarine begins to lose control, crashing into a rock face. You abandon ship and swim toward the Atlantean buildings, pleased to find that, once inside, they are filled with breathable air. You spend a few hours exploring the facility, documenting the many artifacts and wonders you find along your way. You travel through a beautiful arboretum with plant life previously unknown, and visit a large chamber decorated in stunning sculptures and ornamentation. But near the end of your search, you arrive at a research laboratory and, in the center, discover a small vessel that appears to be an Atlantean submarine. Eager to return to the surface and relay your discoveries to the world, you climb aboard the vessel and look over the controls. Luckily, years of studying have made you familiar with the Atlantean writing system. You find a button labeled Launch and press it. As you do, the ship shifts downward slightly as the doors begin to beneath the sub attempt to open. But far too soon, you hear the grinding of gears and the pop of metal. Water begins to slowly burble into the room from the now slightly open door on the floor. The tunnel to the other parts of the Atlantean complex seals shut, preventing the breach from spreading to other areas. You quickly leave the sub, and as you now step through the slowly rising water in the room, it seems you'll need to get this sub to launch if you hope to make it back to the surface alive. You look around the room and see windows looking out into the ocean from every wall, a workbench on the opposite wall, a small tube sticking up out of the floor, almost like an upside-down periscope, a small rack of weapons that stands in the corner next to a chart on the wall, and a few random items that are floating in the shallow water.
I can't believe Gabe just whipped
I know, right?
this up.
It's...
Like, I'm losing my mind.
I sent him this, and he made that. So yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Okay, so is this submarine, that was our submarine? Is that what we popped up out of?
This is the Atlantean one that you found in the room.
Yeah, so up until this whole flooding thing, this has been the most convenient ancient civilization that I've ever found.
Really has been, yes, that's true, yep.
Okay. I mean, I have a rule in life, and that's always check out the trident spears first.
Sounds good. You see there's 3 tridents lined up in a display rack here. Based on your research, these tridents look more decorative than functional. As you examine them, you notice that there's a rune carved into the middle tine of the middle trident that represents the number 6. Oh, I didn't tell you beforehand. I do recommend paper and pencil for all of these. Peih-Gee's on board with that.
Just reaching for them. Hold on.
My rocket book. I keep it right by my desk.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a 6 on the middle trident.
Middle tine of the middle trident. Yep.
Oh, let me draw some tines then. Okay. What about the other tridents? Is there anything else on those?
You examine those, but don't find anything interesting on those.
Okay.
All right, Peih-Gee, it's your turn.
I want to look at the periscope thingy.
Yeah. In the floor is a pipe that stands about 4 feet tall. On the end is an area you could place your eyes into if you wanted to peer into it.
Oh, we're doing that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. You instantly look into it. And it's as if you've been transported out into the ocean itself. A series of mirrors inside directs your vision and allows you to see underneath this room. Outside, you can see a number of fish swimming around, particularly around a rectangular opening just below where the sub would be. As you look closer, you see a large squid is jammed into the opening, carefully eyeing the other fish in the area. The squid seems leery of leaving its hiding spot with the water so crowded. By looking at it, it appears the doors the squid is blocking are the same doors your sub wants to exit through. You'll need to move that squid if you want to leave.
Okay. Sounds like a job for the trident, but... Okay, the squid is jamming the doors.
All right. Okay, so I've actually already. So the trident rule actually superseded a normal rule I have, which is, to always check the desk first.
Teresa wants to give the squid a head pat.
Oh, sadly, the squid is outside. You can't quite reach the squid from in here.
Okay, David, where to?
We gotta check the desk.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
You examine the long workbench on the far side of the room. On it, you see a small framed portrait leaning against the wall, and a stand with 3 tubes fastened to the tabletop. In front of the desk, there's a long, narrow metal door with no apparent handle on it. And on the wall adjacent to the table, you see a small square door with a horizontal handle. Outside the window, you can see that small metal door is connected to a metal chute that's roughly 2 feet in length that leads out into the ocean.
I see a handle. I pull on a handle.
You pull on that small door handle, and as you do, it hinges open, much like the door to a postal box. Kind of swings open. Inside, you see a small circular indentation where you could fit a sphere about the size of a baseball.
Okay.
Okay. And so this is like it's just a chute that shoots out into the ocean.
Yeah, it looks like, you can't really get into it. The kind of rocks open, and there's looks like a spot you could set something, and maybe if you close it, it might move something down that chute.
Yeah, like those little mailbox drawers.
Like the Ghostbusters containment unit.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Yep.
Okay. What about those tubes that are on the table?
There's each of these small tubes is marked off with 9 rings. They seem to be set into some kind of base that's affixed to the table. And near at the top of each, there's a small hole that looks like you could insert something into. Currently, all 3 tubes are empty.
So rings like measuring, like.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of like painted on as you kind of go up.
There's like a graduated cylinder.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Cool. All right, we'll have to mine the meniscus.
He's. And then the photo. There's a photo on it.
Yeah, the front of the picture shows the image of what must be an Atlantean, dressed in what you know to be traditional wedding attire. You turn it over and see on the back, written in the corner, the message, "Happy first day of coral season."
Does that give us the number 1?
Seems like it. Happy first day of coral season. Okay.
What's with the note on the wall? Probably should have, that's another rule.
Read the notes first. You gotta collect everything eventually. It's fine.
Yeah.
You go over and pick up that note off the wall and quickly translate the Atlantean runes. It says, "Spent the day trading the fish outside the research lab. I am testing how good their memories are by feeding them at different times."
Okay. Fish memory. What's the purple thing floating down by our feet now?
The purple thing, yes. Floating in the water, you see a long, slender stick. About half of it is painted gray, while the other half is painted blue. On the gray end, there's an Atlantean rune etched into the wood that represents the word third.
That was on the gray half?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like the rune is oriented so that if you put it vertically, at the very top is where the rune would be for third.
Does it fit into the graduated cylinders?
It looks to be about the same size as them. It doesn't. The hole on top isn't big enough to put it inside, but it does look like it's pretty much the same height.
Oh, so we could hold it up next to it.
Yeah. In fact, if you hold it up next to it, it looks like it comes up to the ring, the 4th ring from the bottom, is where the blue kind of comes up to.
Okay. Can we move the tridents at all?
You go over and try and take the tridents off of their stand. It looks like, they're just decorative there. It looks like they're kind of affixed to the stand and the floor.
And they're not imbuing us with any superpowers?
No, you go over and try and hold one and hope it does, but no. Your feet are still kind of a little wet. You don't feel like you get any, great water powers while holding them. No.
Bummer.
Can we stick the tine into the tubes? Does that do anything?
It looks like the tridents are kind of affixed into the floor, into the stand. You can try and rip them off.
Okay.
Peih-Gee.
I'm
breaking things.
be sticking things in holes. Okay. Okay. I'm not really sure what that. Okay. So wait. Let me get this straight in my mind. The stick is half gray and half blue. The half that's gray has a rune that says third, while the blue part somehow measures up to the 4 on one of the tubes.
If you line up with the tube, the blue part comes up and stops right at that 4th marking.
Okay, and that would be the part without any runes. Okay.
What's this whole like matrixy in the back right corner there?
Yeah, on the wall in the back corner, you notice there's a chart. After studying it briefly, it appears to be a yearly calendar. In all your research, you suspected the Atlanteans had formed their own calendar system, but never had proof until now. It appears they break down their calendar into seasons, much like our months.
And one of them is coral season.
It is. In fact, coral season is their 8th season in the Atlantean calendar.
Okay. Does this give us any other numbers, or are we no numbers here? Cool.
Oh, yeah. You look over it. There's not like anything circled or marked on it. It looks just a standard calendar.
Okay.
Okay, and coral season is the 8th month.
Anything else floating in the water around us that we can go fishing for?
There's that thing in front of the tridents you can check out if you want to.
Oh yeah. That's the thing I want.
Yeah. You wade through the water now that's about calf length over to this thing and pick up what looks like a pump. There's a handle that you can pull in and out, as well as 2 long tubes. As you play with it, you learn that one tube is the intake, while the other is the output.
Okay.
Okay, and then did we look at, I guess, the submarine?
Yeah, that's the submarine you try to jump in and leave. You kind of look inside of it. There's nothing else you see. There's not like anything under the seats as you dig around there. Yeah, it looks like the submarine was maybe something for study of the local area or like a emergency escape pod.
Oh, an escape pod. We know about those.
I have another thought, and while I'm doing this, if anyone in chat has any ideas they want us to try out, please do call them out. What if we look out the windows?
Yeah. You stare out into the water, and at this depth, there's light, but you can see only a few dozen yards before the darkness of the ocean obscures its mysteries. As you look, you notice a few distinct species of fish swimming nearby, particularly toward the side of the workbench you're situated on. You also see leaned up against the windows. Oh, never mind. We moved that. There's a small hand pump there that you've already found.
Okay. So we have fish out by the cylinders.
Yeah. So yeah, they're kind of swimming around. A lot of them are near the front, kind of the side where the workbench is. Looks like they're kind of checking out. There's that trough that sticks out from where the square drawer is. Looks like they're kind of intrigued by that.
So they're feeling like
they're hungry.
Like, feed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so is there a drawer on the desk? Did we look in that? It looks like there's a drawer?
There is a drawer in the front, but you don't see any handles. You try and like move around it to get it to open. It looks like it's locked shut.
Okay. So what do you think, David?
I think we need food.
We need to find some food, which is probably in that locked drawer. Feed them, and like maybe the fish can somehow get the squid out. Is that?
That's a decent working hypothesis.
Okay. So we probably have to, what? You think we have to pump water into those tubes to a certain level, and that's what will unlock the drawer?
Yeah. That feels reasonable.
Because
are we missing a number? Because I'd feel more comfortable doing that if we had 3 numbers.
So we've got, so the stick is probably the third tube, and that gives us a 4. Does that seem like that's what we're doing with that stick? That it's the third tube, and we were filling it with water to the 4?
What if we just use the pump and fill everything to the 4 and see if that works, and if it doesn't, we'll take it from there?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Let's do that.
Sounds good. You take the tube or the pump Put the intake area in the water at your feet now that's slowly filling up. You're getting close to your knees. And put the other end in each of the tubes in succession and start pumping it. And water starts to fill up each of these tubes until they reach the 4th marking on all 3 of them. Once you have them filled up, nothing else happens.
Drat. Okay.
All right.
Because we do know that coral season is the first day and it is the 8th season. So do you feel like maybe is that the first tube to the 8?
I could get into that.
Let's try that. Let's set number 1 to 8.
Sounds good.
Yep.
You put it back on the first tube and use the pump a bit more and fill it up until it hits the 8th mark. It's almost full, and leave it there, but still nothing happens.
And then let's set the middle one to 6.
You put the middle tube in there and pump that up a little bit more, and move the ring up until it hits the 6th mark. And as you do that, the base lights up into a dull blue, and the metal door at front of the desk unlocks and slides open. Inside, you see 4 compartments, each crammed with dozens of small spherical items. The spheres are about the size of a baseball, and they appear to be made of compressed food pellets in 4 colors: white, blue, yellow, and red.
All right, it's feeding time. Also, nice work on the big brain moment, Peih-Gee.
I was like, where is there a 2? Like, what? I didn't see a 2 in the room.
Yeah, no, I mean, nice.
That
nice
was
subtle clue.
That was fun. Yeah, that was because especially it was the middle tine too.
Yeah. All right, so we have food pellets, we have a food chute, and we have hungry fish.
Some hungry ass fish, like my cats every morning. Meow, meow, come feed me. Okay.
There's a number of species of fish outside the window. You also saw them in the periscope down below.
Yeah.
They look to be kind of tormenting that squid down there.
Can we take another look at those and maybe see if we can detect any colors?
Yeah, you see there seems to be 4 different species of fish out there. There's some bluish gray sharks. You see hundreds of white fish that glint in the dim light of the depths. A few dozen fish with these beautiful golden scales. And some eel-like fish with a crimson hue to them.
Okay.
Okay.
Goldfish.
Well, let's start off getting rid of the let's start off getting rid of the eels. They creep me out. So let's try and feed them with the red ones. Question: Are we gonna get more or less of them?
Sounds good. Yeah, you open the little chute and put a red food pellet sphere into the drawer and close it. From inside the chute, you can hear the sound of a ball bearing kind of rolling along a metal track. It seems that sound also attracts some of the fish. The eel, or those eel-like fish, swim up near the end of the track and they're waiting for something. Then you see the end of the chute open, and that red sphere you put in there slowly starts to float up a little bit in the water, and all the eels kind of swarm in and nibble at it.
All of the eels.
Yeah, you look down the periscope down by the squid. It seems that they're all cleared out from down there as well. The squid looks a little bit less nervous, but there's still a number of fish down there that the squid's not quite sure about.
I think it's yellow time.
Goldfish in the ocean.
You take the gold pellet and put it into the drawer and close it. You hear that same sound of like the ball bearings rolling along a metal track. And as that happens, the sharks come in and wait on the edge kind of expectantly, waiting for some food to pop out. And then when the yellow orb pops out, they look very disappointed and leave.
But the goldfish, did the goldfish eat it? The goldfish came and ate it.
No, the goldfish didn't even come up.
Okay. But the yellow made the blue sharks leave. Is that what happened?
Well, so let's go and feed the blue ones first. Let's do that. Let's put the blue feed out there.
Sounds good. You put a blue orb into the chute and close it. You hear it move out, and as that sound happens, all the fish with those golden scales come up near the end of the tube and await eagerly for the food to come out. And then when a blue sphere pops out, they look very upset, and they swim back to where they were. You check in the periscope, and they still seem to be tormenting that squid down there.
Oh.
Okay. I guess another yellow?
Put another yellow one?
Well, we just did yellow. Is it timing? Is it about the timing? So do we have to feed them in a certain order?
No, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking we needed to satisfy the sharks so that the other ones felt comfortable. But I misunderstood. The sharks actually left because they ate the yellow one's food.
They just left the yellow one's food there, and it kind of floated up and out away. They didn't Same
let's
with
try
when you put the blue one out there. The blue one floated out in a way when the gold ones tried to come eat it and they didn't want it.
Okay, let's just do the white and see what happens.
Yeah.
You put the white food into the shelf and close it. You hear again that same metal sound that attracts the fish, and this time those hundreds of little white fish come and swarm around the area. You can barely kind of see. They make a big grouping of fish. And then you see the white food come out, and they excitedly eat it, leaving it there. So it looks like you've got the eels are there kind of eating their food. Theirs seems to be almost gone, and the white fish seem to be quite excitedly eating their food as well.
Man, these sharks and these goldfish are freaking picky. Like, a little picky to be picky beggars.
Yeah.
All right, should we try now? Should we try like what the blue or the yellow? Which one do you want to try again?
Let's try the yellow again. Just see what happens.
Yeah, you put another yellow ball in there and close the drawer. And again, that same sound comes out. And it looks like the eels give up on their current food pellet and look for a new one. And when the door opens and a yellow one comes up, they look disgusted and they swim away, even ignoring their previous food pellet that slowly starts to drift up toward the surface. They seem to be pretty upset.
Okay, so we need to do this in an order. All right. Okay.
Well, it seems to be red, white. Red, white. That seemed to work, right?
Red and white worked.
And then what was the next one? We did blue?
Yeah. What if we do blue, red, yellow, white? White, yellow? I'm trying to figure out how we probably want to work our way down the food chain. Feed the ones who were most intimidating first.
Okay.
So let's try that. Let's try doing the blue, then the red, then the yellow, then the white.
You want to start with the blue one?
Yeah.
You put a blue one in and close the drawer. That same sound again attracts the sharks. They come to the area. When that ending opens up and the food pellet comes out, the sharks eagerly move around it and consume that food pellet. So you now got the white fish there eating, and the sharks there are eating as well.
The white fish are eating as well. Is that what you said?
Yeah, they're still eating that food pellet you sent them.
Oh, the first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's do the red ones because the eels are still pretty angry.
You put a red one in there and close the drawer, and it sends out there all those fish with those beautiful golden scales come up and try to wait for their food to come. But when a red pellet is emitted, again, they look very disappointed, and they swim back underneath to torment the squids some more.
So it looks like the yellow were waiting to go after the blue.
Yeah, they want the blue one. Okay. So let's toss another blue one out there for them.
Well, it sounds like the yellows were expecting to be fed after the blues.
Yeah.
Right? So it may not...
They just also haven't been fed yet. Maybe they just want the blue food.
No, because you put in a blue pellet and the yellow ones didn't come and eat it.
Oh, you're right.
So
let's do yellow.
So basically, so we put in the blue ones and it worked. And then when we put in the red, the yellows were already there waiting. So it's like the yellows were expecting to go after the blues. Right? Does that make...
Well, let's just try a yellow now and see if we freed it up. But yeah, it might be a sequencing thing because they've been trained in that sequence.
Yeah.
I think you're right, but I don't know how to reset it.
Let's try a yellow one.
Yeah.
Sounds good. You put a yellow one in the container and close it. You hear it move out. And this time, those tiny white fish that have been eating give up on their current food and swarm down to the end and wait. And a yellow sphere comes out, and they look very unhappy. They swim down and start tormenting that squid again.
Okay, so blue, then yellow, then white.
Then red. Okay.
Then red. So let's toss a red one out there.
You put a red one in the container and close it. It sends out, and indeed, those eel-like fish come up and wait for something to come out. The container opens up, and when they see their red food, they start nibbling on it very excitedly.
Okay, let's go back to blue.
Okay, so back to blue.
You put another blue food pellet in there. The sharks ignore where they're currently at and wait expectantly. Another blue food pellet comes out, and they start nibbling on the new one. They're also very excited.
All right.
The yellow one's loaded in and ready to go.
Without hesitation, you load a yellow one in, and indeed, those golden fish with the scales come up and wait for the food. And when it comes out, they start nibbling on that as well.
And I got the white one's already in the chute.
You have to wait. In fact, it doesn't let you close it. You have to wait for it to come back and reset.
Yeah.
You're so excited. You load that one in there. And indeed, when you send that one out, all the whitefish swarm and wait and then eat on the food. You check in the periscope, and as you do, the squid underneath starts to poke its head out and then move a couple of its little tendrils out and then shoot into the ocean, leaving an inky black spray behind.
Awesome. I take the red one and I do like a little like Salt Bay kind of sprinkle the last red one down into the chute.
Refeed the red ones. They look very happy. They're continually fed. Yes.
We've been very well trained by these fish.
Exactly.
Yeah, who's the trained one here? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Teresa, we freed your squid. So can we now hop into this sub and get out of Dodge?
Yeah, you jump back into the sub and press that launch button again. This time you feel the ship sink into the passageway beneath the laboratory. Soon the sub clears the tunnel and you're out in the open ocean again. You instruct the sub to begin ascending toward the surface, enjoying the views of the ocean while you wait. Soon the sub crests the surface and you can see the bright sun beaming down on you. You survived and are excited to head off to tell the world all about your Atlantean adventure. Well done! You did it!
Yay!
Solved the mini audio room.
Well done, you did it. Thank you.
Wow, that
I
was
can't believe
so
you made this in like 2 days.
that was so good.
Psychopath.
That was incredible. That was so much
Thank
fun.
you.
That was a perfect little 20-minute bite. Like, what a great little puzzle snack.
Yes.
Puzzle snack. I like that. Yeah.
Puzzle Snack is the name of a book put out by Eric Berlin.
Oh, we got to think of a new name now. Dang.
Yeah. Very good puzzle book. Really just friendly, solver-friendly puzzle book. Highly recommend.
Writing it down.
I'll put it in your shot.
It's when that comment about the being trained. It's so funny because like I remember this. I think about this all the time. Like this comment. I think my dad told me where he's like, you know, when the dog gets fed, it thinks, oh, somebody's feeding me. There must be a god. And when the cat gets fed, the cat says, oh, somebody's feeding me. I must be a god. And I was like, that is absolutely the difference between dogs and cats. Did you, David, did you have any questions about the game or the graphics while he has the image up still?
Not at all. It was very clear and very fun and very, very clever.
Everything made perfect sense. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it was exactly, because, you know, it was really perfect. The cadence of it, the way it took us a few minutes to figure out, but not like frustratingly so.
Depending upon the depth that we're at, I'm just going to nerd out here about the ocean. Depending upon the depth that we're at, red and yellow are probably not likely colors because the deeper you go, unless you're shining a light, the color spectrum starts to fade away, starting on the red and the red side, which is why scuba equipment tends to be in the green, blue, purple range. Yeah, because the colors all start to drop out of the spectrum.
Sure.
You know, if you're going for
Super
realism in this
unnecessary detail.
Atlantean magical city.
My background is in theatrical lighting design, and I've designed a puzzle about light mixing that does not follow the colors of actual light mixing at all in one of our rooms. And I've had like 2 people catch it, but I was like, it's fine. Just let it. Just ignore it. It's fine. Yeah.
Just making conversation at this point.
That was
stuff I like to nerd out about.
That was great. It took me a while to realize what the pump was for. I was totally like, what can I pick up to? I was looking for like a ball or I don't know, something to put it in. I was like, okay, duh, like that's the pump. Like, what are we doing with this pump?
Yeah, it took a little bit, and then the just the connection between the tines and the graduated cylinders, super clever, but not like immediately obvious unless someone in the chat disagrees.
No, I thought it was super smart because it wasn't labeled with a 2. You know, after seeing after seeing the 6, you know, that's one of those things where you're training your brain to look for these numbers, and you're like, I don't see a 2 anywhere. Like, what else could it be, right? So I really like that kind of like little subtle difference. But you did really specify 2. It's in the middle tine. You know,
middle twice.
Yeah.
And once you see the connection, you cannot unsee it. It is so very much there. But yeah, it's the process of getting there is really fun.
I can't believe you whipped this up. Oh, this is incredible.
Out of your
So
mind.
these are all things that live in my puzzle graveyard, which is where I have a folder on my Dropbox and a folder on my Google Drive where I dump puzzles that I cut from other things. Puzzles that just don't work or aren't quite right for the thing. The Atlantean theme was a mini room that we had in a big physical experience we were going to make. We were actually like a month or 2 away from like pulling the trigger on that when the world ended. So we're lucky we didn't. Hopefully someday we'll get back to that, and I will cobble together something else kind of fill that hole. It wasn't integral to the experience. The containers puzzle, at Trapped, we've kind of long joked about doing a room that slowly fills with water. Like we build it physically, and it will be one group will get to play it, and then we'll have to just destroy the room because it will just gut everything that's in there.
That's like that the Looney Tunes cartoon, like neat trick, but you can only do it once.
Yep. So like I was like, okay, that'll be fun. We'll put that in there, and then I like wanted to use the water, so we put a pump in there, so the water was actually useful. The 3 numbers was originally 1 number on the back of the portrait, which is directly from Herbert's lab. Then we can do a little more where they can split it up. And then the fish feeding puzzle was actually in Spirit Train for a while, and then it just didn't fit the flow, and the experience was too long as a whole anyways. So we just cut that, and then I kind of simplified it for this, the same kind of idea of your things are responding to your input and trying to learn what that how they're responding to you. So this is all my tip for anyone that's designing puzzles. If you've got something that doesn't work, save it. It'll work somewhere else. You'll find somewhere to put it. And I've done a couple of the designs like this too that are just like I gotta get something out fast, and I just dig through that like reserve of stuff that I've made that just doesn't work, and figure out how I can kind of repurpose it for what I'm doing right now. So yeah, there's my tip of the day.
This was perfect. It was tight. Everything worked perfectly, and the time frame, the amount of time it took was awesome. And you even tested this. Like, how many tests did you run for this?
Just 2, and way less than we normally do. I was like, we're gonna test it twice, and like, yeah, it works. It's fine. I'll make it up if it doesn't work. It's fine.
We're also we're adaptable players.
I feel like that's the hardest too, is play, like in your mind it'll like take X amount of time, and then you play test it, and it's completely off from your expectations sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and even like trying to make one of these 15 or 20 minutes long, like the intro and outro take 2 to 3 minutes each. It's just exploring the room here takes a lot more time than it does in a physical space, so we can't put as much stuff in we do with a physical room. You can't split up as easily. Yeah, it takes more time to navigate one of these, but it's for teams that don't like missing out on parts of an escape room. These are really great because it's impossible for you to miss a piece, because you can't be doing something while someone else is solving a thing in another corner. So that's always kind of nice.
That's one of the things that I do like about doing virtual escape rooms in general, is getting to feel like I got to experience almost every puzzle. So generally speaking, there's other rooms where you are given a lot of puzzles and clues in, like, Telescape, and those are more efficient, but a lot of times I get slightly frustrated because I'm like, wait a minute, when did we open that? Oh, that puzzle got solved, like I didn't, like I missed this, and especially when I'm playing with Teresa because you're so fast. But these are fun, because everybody gets to participate and see what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you want to stop sharing?
Perfect.
And that when we can go back to just our lovely faces?
Stopped sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, Teresa and Matthew and Tammy is not in here. They're like the final bosses.
Yes. Yeah, but Teresa, you do like speed runs and stuff, right? Like your brain is just on some type of super drug. I don't know what.
I have loved playing these games with all of my super smart friends where I'm like, I just go on siesta. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hop in and I have something witty to say.
I'm gonna enjoy the ride. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to? Let me see how much time we have. We do have like about another half hour, I think, to go. So
Yeah.
if you guys, a couple things, we want to just go over the thought process of that, and then I think David has some updates for us.
I just had one question for you. It's like, what makes for a really good player from your perspective as someone who's running this over and over and over again? Like, what makes for a really fun player, and what makes for a calamitous player?
Sure. Yeah. I part of it is like my puzzle style is I like to make machines. I've noticed I like to make things that you can interact with and play with and learn from. And so players that get into that is like, I'm just going to see what this thing does and play with it.
What do you mean, a literal machine? Like, what do you mean by machines?
I mean, not necessarily. Like the fish puzzle, I would consider a machine where you input something and you get an output, and you're trying to learn why you're getting that output.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That sort of idea of creating a puzzle, a machine puzzle almost.
I like the way you do that because they always feel at first glance like, oh, this is really simple. There's always a layer of extrapolation that you need to make to figure out how to operate it. But the actual like operation of the machine is not the puzzle. It's the nuance of it.
Matthew says he calls those black box puzzles.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like the old black box puzzles. I rename exactly what you call them. But yeah, definitely. You shoot a laser in and try and figure out what's inside the box. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is that what they're referring to? When he said black box puzzles, I thought he meant like, is it like the black box you find in planes where you're trying to reconstruct what happened here?
There's an old, I know it from an old board game, but I also know there's like paper versions of the puzzle as well, where you're on a grid and you shoot a laser in one side, and it bounces around inside and shows you how it leaves, and it's your goal to figure out where things are positioned inside the grid to like figure out how things are bouncing around inside. They're really cool little puzzles.
I've had this rough idea that I've just never taken the time to actually build out, but maybe someone in this chat does. You know what a useless box is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know, a useless box is a box that has an on switch, and the only thing the box does, it's a machine that the only thing that it does is turn itself off after you turn it on.
I was about to make a super off-color joke, but
yeah, there are many variations on the concept of the useless box, and some of them are very cute and very funny. But I've always wanted to design a useless box that's actually a puzzle, where there is a way to make it do a different thing. But I've never done it.
That would be great.
That's actually really interesting. Are there any other favorite puzzle types that you like to incorporate?
I like things that are environmental, especially in these experiences. We try to make audio rooms that we couldn't make physically. And so trying to figure out how to do, time travel was Herbert's lab involves time travel, and try to evoke that without ever saying you travel through time, and give teams all the clues and hints that they need to come to that conclusion themselves. It's kind of fun to hint at what this thing is and describe what they're seeing and experiencing rather than telling them what the effect is. So those are fun. I do enjoy those a lot. We try and do a wide range of them, so that everyone's got a puzzle they can kind of gravitate toward. So just from that, I tend to design. I try to design a pretty wide range, although I know I have kind of my things I lean toward. Yeah, anything that I can look at and it looks like a mess when I start, and as I start looking at it more, it starts making more sense, and I can understand it and figure out how it all kind of unravels and untangles itself until it makes sense. Those are always my favorite. That's kind of always the puzzle style I'm aiming for.
How rigid are you in accepting certain solutions? Because I know some of your puzzles are quite maybe open-ended, where it's not like a number. It's more like you have to take this object and get it to interact with the environment in a certain way. So if a player chooses, some random object that could possibly be there or is there, but maybe it wasn't its intended purpose, but it could possibly fulfill what your idea of the solution is, will you tend to accept that?
Yeah, usually we've got some puzzles where we have multiple solutions baked in. Anytime we have a date involved, we always make sure, from an audio standpoint, at least we accept it in date month or month date format. Those simple things, but the more abstract things of like, I need to figure out how to get, this thing down from a high height, and I have a long pole, or maybe I climb up to get it, or stuff like that. There's a bit of a balance where we want teams to be able to search around and find the intended solution. So if they try something really quickly, I tend to give them more time to explore and try and find something else. Especially if I've dropped something, if there's something in the environment that they're going to find and it's used for that purpose. If I don't let them use that object for that purpose, they're going to wonder why they have this object for a while. So there is a little bit of that, or also, not wanting to give them the first response. That isn't always the most satisfying for some teams. So part of it is learning, kind of getting a feel for teams and knowing how they want to respond to things. For this particular, the fish feeding, the first pellet you put in, it's always the correct pellet for this. So you can do some of those things in the background where I can teach you how that works, and you can see a successful result right away. There is a sequence that I am waiting for, but I'll start it wherever it makes the most sense, depending on what you try first. So there are some of those things we can do in the background that we can give you more of a lead in or more of a clue earlier, because we don't have to. We fit what you're looking for in those moments.
That's so smart.
Cool. One thing, Celia is writing in the chat, but this whole thing is normally pre-recorded and not live, correct? No.
Whole thing's live.
Just like we just played. Exactly like how we played.
Other than me being on video, which I realize I use my hands to describe a lot of things. And no one gets to see that. So we've got about a dozen game masters. Most of them are our normal game master staff. One reason we kind of started doing these was we wanted our game master staff to have something still to do, some way to employ them still while our rooms were shut down. And we've been really lucky that tons of our game master staff really jumped on this and have done such a great job running these. They get really into them. They've got the character voices they've got are just amazing, and I love it. We've added a couple people to the staff specifically for these. But yeah, every one of them that we run, there's a live narrator. They're all fantastic at rolling with punches. I always try and encourage teams to try weird things, and the teams that try to stump me or try to do the off the walls thing can be a lot of fun, because they often get very surprised at our ability to roll with that, or even remember it way later and can come back to that idea.
Don't know anybody who's ever played your game in an off the wall way.
Yeah, no one does that. There's just no one.
No one's ever done that.
Not a single person. No.
But yeah. So the question that Celia was writing, and that's why we're on Beyond Screens, is that this is, specifically exploring this is because, yes, there is technically a screen involved in playing this. It's being played through Discord, and technically, the artwork is being displayed on screen. It really doesn't feel like does not feel like you're playing a video game. It feels like this game could be done on a tabletop just as easily, but for pandemic. It just feels really, really good, and especially if you've got this the kind of Zoom fatigue that Lisa and I end up with just from our regular lives. It's so lovely to be able to play a game like this.
Your 10,000 meetings a day.
Yeah. And we played your most recent game, Spirit Train, with
what a
Errol
masterpiece.
and his daughter, and that was, I don't think we have Errol in the chat today, but that was a trip.
I have talking about laughing and not making noise. That's when I wish I would have recorded, because I was just dying, tears rolling down my face, laughing so hard at just Errol talking for 4 or 5 minutes about stream of consciousness, about maybe there's this over here, we can try this, and
That was so funny.
I have
So
anxiety
funny.
just thinking about it. I would have ripped his head off.
I had even said to him when we were at the end of the game, I had said to him, if we were playing with Peih-Gee, she would have already murdered you.
My best friend Jason, when we don't do a lot of rooms together, but when we do, he is that guide. He's not quite at Arrow level, but he is like
no one's at Arrow
no,
level.
but he likes to try a lot of ridiculous things, like even in physical escape rooms. He's like, okay, I think this is a solution. We have to take all these objects and put them in the hat and wave them around in the air and say that magic word that we read here. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, that sounds so stupid. Like, that would never be the solution. And like 80% of the time, it is the solution, and I would have never come up with it. So now I have to listen to him and I have to do every stupid thing that he suggests.
Anyway, I highly recommend bringing your completely bonkers friends to play these games because they just run with it. Errol is especially fun because he snaps back and forth between like a metronome, between being completely off the wall and then like solving something like immediately.
Yeah. It's like 3 minutes of random dialogue that I don't know where it's going to go, and then it ends with here's this, like it's like you're in his brain listening to his thought process as he churns through these ideas and then going, here's the output, here's what we need to do. Yeah.
Yep.
I've never played a game with Earl. I will have to amend that one day.
We played Stash House with him, and all I will say is that game very early on involves a stripper pole, and in our playthrough it involved a stripper pole and Errol.
That's all I need. I know exactly what happens. Like, I can fill all those pieces in. It's brilliant. Yep.
The pool is used.
We had that back when we tested Heist Baby. So you're doing a casino heist essentially, and we let teams go back and change to some sort of costume, and we leave it super open-ended. They can do whatever they want. It doesn't depend on a puzzle. It's entirely for them to get in character. And some teams will go, well, we'll all be dealers, or we'll all be, which is fine. Some teams really get into that. We had 2 teams back to back where one person was like, I will be a potted plant. It's like, oh, like, no, I'll be in a pot, and like they'll have a cart and they'll push me around. And it was 2 groups back to back that were completely unrelated, which was the best part. Where it was I think during like late playtests where we had that group and then the next group came and the same thing happened with a potted plant, and it was just hilarious. And you'd move. One of the advantages writing these, as I've learned, is the wonderful second person that is super ambiguous. I can write you into the script. And it encompasses everyone, and it feels very personal at the same time. So I'll like, oh, you all wheel over there. It's like, oh, well, I'll deal blackjack. And it's like, you're in a plant costume. How are you going to deal blackjack? And they're like, oh, I forgot that I was. You just kind of forget because you get sucked into what's going on.
I love that you remember and you remind them.
There's always a sheet. I have so many cheat sheets for all of our rooms and write everything down. I have that with, I still have the list that mostly Errol picked up when we played Spirit Train.
The sheer volume of stuff that was accumulated.
It's like a whole page of like items that picked up, and like trying to remember all the things that they have in their inventory in their pockets and stuff. Was the gigantic tin of oatmeal. Just lovely. What a random thing to bring on a trip. It was great.
Part of me now wants to orchestrate getting a large number of people to book simultaneous like games one after another with you guys, and come up with one completely nutso thing that they all do, just to troll you,
just to mess with you. I had a question, Mark. I have played some similar style games where players have maybe different roles and different abilities. Do you have any games that are like that, or have you considered incorporating something like that into your games?
We do that with Super Squad, where we kind of explored that, where players get superpowers through halfway through the game. It was the third one that we wrote, and one thing we noticed in our first 2 was the tendency for one person to kind of dominate the voice channel, because we can only do one thing at a time. So we wanted to figure out trying to make a game where everyone has a specialized role. So for that, everyone has a unique superpower. To spoil, you'll get that about 15 minutes in. It's a light spoiler, but if you see the logo of Super Squad and you don't think you're going to get superpowers,
I
I
feel
apologize.
like the name definitely, is it's a clue.
It's a bit of a clue in here. And so we actually played it with we've got a local-ish college that has a game design class that we tend to go over once a semester, and we'll talk about puzzles in their puzzle section. And we haven't been able to do it for the last year, and we had them over. We had them on Discord to play Super Squad, and that was one thing that Professor was really worried about, was having that kind of alpha player thing. But we've all of our game masters are really great with, if you want to use that superpower, the person that has that power has to actually like evoke it and say that they want to use that power. So that's been really fun and successful. We haven't gone back to that really. We haven't found another kind of route where that feels special and unique. We talked about it with Heist Baby a little bit early on and couldn't find a good way to make it fit into the experience. But it's something, it's tricky. One thing we worked on with Super Squad is we wanted to make sure the powers felt balanced, that everyone felt like they had important moments to kind of shine. There are some puzzles you can solve multiple ways, and we made sure that even with those, everyone's got their couple moments in the experience where they're the one that gets to do the cool thing. So that I think is the only trick. That, and also making it accommodate multiple players. So that room plays 3 to 6, and how we do that is we just merge superpowers together at the lower player count. So we've got 6 powers we can give out, and as we start losing players, the powers merge into one person, and then have it so all the puzzles still function when one person has multiple powers. You don't need their separate powers at the same time necessarily. So that was the big challenge for that one.
Right, so smart. I see Celia says, "Ooh, I want you to guest speak remotely in my class."
Yeah, let me know. I love doing that. One thing we were going to do, I absolutely love game shows. Anything, everything, 40s, 50s to now, which includes the wide variety of reality shows that are on as well.
I don't know anything about that in this.
I know nothing about that. And the same college was going to do like a special course in game shows. They're going to like produce a game show, and I was like, yes. And I sent them my like 90 video YouTube playlist, which is all like one episode of like every different game show that I've ever found on there. So yeah, absolutely. I will talk. I will talk about whatever you want me to talk about. Whatever you want me to talk. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite game show?
My absolute favorite is the old reality show called The Mole, which Anderson Cooper hosted in like 2001 and 2002.
I vaguely remember that.
Oh, it's I have watching parties for it for people that haven't seen it yet. I've got season 1 on DVD and season 2 still on YouTube. That one is it captures so many good things. I love it.
Just the other day, Defunct Land, the YouTube channel, put out another series called Defunct TV, where they do series on long dead TV shows. They just put out an episode on the original game show Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh yeah.
Which is a show that left a big impression on me. And really good episode. Highly recommend.
So The Mole is like a social deduction. Was it like a social deduction type game?
The Mole?
I feel like that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, there. But quick pitch: there's a group of players that are working on tasks together to form a group pot. But one of those players has been hired by the company to be a mole and a saboteur to stop them from winning as much as possible, but try to blend in with everyone else. At the end of each, yeah, kind of like a Cylon. Yep. To get back to our Battlestar Galactica talk from before this. And then at the end of each episode, they determine who leaves the show by taking a quiz on who the mole is. So it's all about tracking who the mole is and tracking their movements. Like specific things like what did the mole have for breakfast one morning, or what team was the mole on for this task, what shoe size does the mole have, lots of weird stuff. So it's this kind of investigative part as well as trying to figure out who it is. It turns into this nice, interesting interplay where, because of that quiz at the end, players want to look like the mole to have other people score lower. So it's this weird like double bluff that starts happening. It's so good. I love it. I love it.
I love that kind of mechanism, because one of the flaws that I consistently find with social deduction games is that there really is a benefit to just shutting up if you're the person who's trying to undermine, and then let the horde tear each other apart, because paranoia just sets in organically, and people read into nonsense.
Yep.
So if you just chill out and do nothing, then they just wreck each other. But actually having, and I think it leads to, like, it removes the deduction from the social deduction, but having game mechanisms that force there to be trails of evidence and allow you to actually start to deduce, and have mechanisms that allow someone to deliberately undermine the overall group to score points in their own, to meet their own needs. Like, these are things that really add interesting layers to it.
I see Celia in the comments also says, that would be awesome. We require our students to go to an escape room in their first game design class. I love that.
That's great. If anyone is looking for an online escape game to play right now, that just holds a very special place in my heart, check out Scrap's new game. Since the time travel lab, or was it Lab of Shifting Rules? Someone in chat help me out here. The Lab of Shifting Rules, something like that. It is basically, if you've ever played Baba Is You, the puzzle game, it is Baba Is You, the escape room.
That's cool.
It is so smart.
Okay.
Yeah. Cannot recommend it highly enough. It's probably going to be our spoilers club for next month.
Do you think that, would it be fun to play Baba Is You first before playing that?
I've played a little bit of Baba. Baba Is You is like 250 levels, and they get very hard very quickly. So finishing Baba Is You is rough. But I would say even just being aware of it, it's just a good game to have. But even without it, they very quickly get you up to speed with what you're playing and how to play it. And it may be the most complex online escape game to operate that I've ever seen. They are working so hard. So just, be kind to your game master and your avatar. Don't rush them. They're gonna do what you want to do. But play along. You're gonna have a blast because it's just so damn clever.
Okay, I'm excited to do it for the next Spoilers Club. Especially because I feel like the scrap games are a little expensive, and so I feel like at least this way I'll justify
you're
the
getting
money.
Like, you're getting your money's worth. They're really working hard, and they're doing something that literally nobody is doing, and I can't believe anyone thought to do it.
Okay, I'm excited. We will plan that out. I might have, so like yesterday I was watching Gabby Pascuzzi, who's another fellow Survivor contestant and Puzzle Queen, and she was playing Baba Is You. So maybe I'll see if she wants to come play and join us for Spoilers Club. I think that would be fun.
I think it would be awesome.
One of those games I open up about once a month and get through like 3 or 4 levels, and then like I gotta put it away. It's brilliant, but it's tough. Yeah.
It will wreck you.
And for anybody watching who doesn't know yet, and I feel like you guys probably all do, but Spoilers Club is this thing that David and I kind of created because we want to be able to do an in-depth discussion of escape rooms and escape games that you couldn't really do for the wide audience. So this is patron only, so you do have to be a Patreon at like I think the $15 level, but we will announce which game we play. We tell everyone to go play it, so everybody go play that game before you listen to that content.
Yeah, we spent a long time trying to figure out how to find a way to talk about games without any restrictions, so we could actually delve into the meat of them without undermining the business of the people that we're celebrating. And the best way we could figure out how to do that was to put it behind a paywall and in a place that's not going to come up in organic search, so that your random player can't drop in and, spoil themselves so that they can look like a genius in front of their coworkers, and ruin it for everybody. And so that's why we have it there. That's why it's paywalled. That's why it's paywalled fairly substantially. you have to have more than just casual motivation to access this and casual knowledge, because we don't want to harm the companies. We're only talking about games that like really excite us and make us and that we want to recommend other people play. So that's the way that we're handling it. And so far, we've done one episode. We discussed Locurio's The Vanishing Act, which is a game that Lisa and I played on our honeymoon and loved. And then we played it again online because it's operating online, and it's just a beautiful escape room. It's an escape room executed beautifully, just the classic style done really, really well.
With a couple new games for the online version, which were so much fun. Like some of my favorite puzzles in that room were the new ones that they implemented just for the virtual version.
I would agree, and yeah, they did some really cool stuff with the user interface.
The Spoilers Club was so much fun because I'm one of those people, if I watch a movie or, watch a show that I'm really into, like I immediately start searching for like podcasts or blogs because I want to hear the recaps. I want to hear what other people think about it, right? So, and it's such a bummer that there's really not a lot of that content available for escape rooms. Like after I play an amazing room, I immediately want to go talk to other people about it. And so this was so much fun. Even I re-listened to our episode and I was like, oh yes, reliving this moment. Brilliant.
It's fun. So some other things we have going on, just kind of with the last few minutes. We just launched another episode of our podcast, The Reality Escape Pod. We interviewed Chris Lattner from The Room in Berlin, Germany. He is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting creators that has been out there. And the episode, I am about as proud of this episode as anything we've ever produced on any medium. So please check it out. Please share it around. And Celia's asking about Recon. Yes, Recon. So the Reality Escape convention, our convention, this is going to be August 22nd and 23rd of this year. It is going to be online again because we are not gambling on the world getting unscrewed. Because in general, in business, I have always kind of bet on things optimistically. The past year, I have not lost by being pessimistic, and so we made that gamble in January. We're doing it online again. We've rebuilt a lot of our digital infrastructure, so we're taking all the things that people loved about last year, and we're just making it better, making it more solid. We're gonna have more talks. We're gonna have ticketed workshops. We're going to have more games for people to play. We're gonna make Discord way less intimidating. I'm currently working on producing all 16 of the talks. Last year's talks are available on the Room Escape Artist YouTube channel. They're all available for free. This year, we're continuing a conversation. We're taking what we did last year and we're building off of it. So we're addressing what I've always seen as a fundamental flaw in conferences, which is this lowest common denominator assumption of, well, we don't know who's in the audience, we don't know what they know, we don't know if they were here last year, so we have to keep teaching the 101 courses. The 101 courses are on the internet. You can go watch them. Our speakers this year can just reference them. So if you don't know what's up, that's fine. You can go check out the other. We're able to go and build on these ideas, and that's really what we're striving for. Is we're trying to push immersive gaming to get out of the ruts and get out of the assumptions, and we're trying to do this by sharing ideas from really brilliant people who are eager to share. And very excited about this. We're going to be launching base tickets are going to be free. That will include all of the talks, the add-ons. All of that stuff is going to go on sale in the next couple of weeks, and I feel like we're going to be able to have some really wonderful conversations.
What do you get for so with a paid ticket? What's the difference? What extras do you get with a paid ticket?
So I don't have all of the information off the top of my head because Lisa's been doing all of this and I've been producing a podcast. we divide and conquer. But there are going to be effectively two main paid tracks. There's going to be an industry track, and there's going to be a gaming track. Both are going to come with their own sets of perks that are kind of tailored to the different groups. And then we will also have, as I mentioned, ticketed workshops, which you buy access to. One of the other problems we're striving to fix with conferences in general is this what I call toxic sameness of conferences, where you end up with the same dozen or so speakers who show up every single year. They give a slight variation on the same exact talk, and there's no room for anyone new to come in. We're not really letting speakers come back year over year at Recon. They will be able to come back after a year off or so, but we're bringing in new people. We are taking some of our more popular talks from last year, and we're having those speakers run live workshops that are ticketed. They're going to be limited to 22 people per workshop, and there'll be 2-hour events where you'll be broken off into groups. You'll learn how to do a thing. You'll come back together. You'll get feedback. You'll learn from each other. You'll learn from the speaker, and so we've got all of that stuff in the works. But yeah, that's what we're working on. We're trying really hard to expand the number of voices that are in this community, expand the number of perspectives, and build upon ideas. Get everyone out of the 101 level. So that's Recon, and if you can't tell, I'm really freaking excited about it.
I can't wait. Last year was incredible. I couldn't believe how much I felt like I was at a real convention. I was kind of worried it wouldn't have that feeling, and it would, just feel like Discord, and it didn't. Just like how Mark's audio rooms, really, you feel like you're there, and even with the Discord, I couldn't believe how much it had that same energy and feel of being at a convention, like meeting people, running into people listening to the talks, like, yes.
And so a lot of that was built off of, there was a lot of intention in what we did, but also there was just a lot of people who, like, the community is what made that feel so fun and so special. Like, people like Jackal and Ben, and there's so many people who in this room who were there. Lee,
everybody in this room I met because through the Recon last year.
Yeah. Like my favorite thing, and like this is my measure. So in my regular life, I design digital products for whoever hires me to design digital products for them. But my measure of true success for any digital product is, do people take it and use it in ways you weren't expecting them to? That's to me is when you've done a thing correctly. I think there's probably something true of that in game design as well. And for me, my favorite thing was the realization of, we hit the end of the day, and people were saying, well, and Peter's one of them, like, where's the after parties? What are we doing here? And we hadn't planned anything. We figured, like, we had like 12 hours of content. We were like, people are just going to want to go to bed. The time zones are all over the place. Like, we don't need to plan nightlife. But we had all these video channels, these voice and video channels, and the community turned them into bars and kept that going all night.
Peih-Gee Go. That was
exactly.
That was one of the bars.
Yeah. It was so much fun, and it was so touching, and we were dead tired, and we were still up till all hours hanging out with everybody. And so this year we're more consciously structuring that. We're building upon that. We're gonna have after late night events that are not going to be lectures or lessons. They're just going to be fun stuff for people in the community to engage with.
Gotta have the after parties every time, because it's like you do this thing, it's really intense, you're so tired from interacting, but you need that kind of come down, because if you just turn it off, suddenly I'm back into my like boring room and I feel super quiet and lonely. So like you kind of need that little taper, It
was so true, and it was like definitely, like, in retrospect, an oversight, but I'm so happy we didn't, because I love that it gave the community a chance to go and say, we're taking this thing, we're having fun here, and we're gonna make it better. And like I love that.
You guys have no idea.
Like, it was so much fun.
The whole production team was so tired and so busy, and here I am in the channels. Are we having an after party today, guys? Are we? Can you guys please somebody make me a channel? I'm like, I'll host. I'm like, I need an after party. Like,
I still had to finish editing one talk that was going to air the next day, because all of our talks are recorded and edited, because we one of the other things we had noticed going to other digital conferences is that it's really hard to keep people's attention, because if a talk gets boring, they have an internet worth of thing, internet's worth of entertainment in front of. They can go on Facebook, they can go on Twitch, they can go on YouTube, they can go watch porn. You're competing with all of that. So we were like, we need to make sure that our talks are tightly edited. They need to be as well produced as we can make them, because it's so easy for people to just bounce.
But the live chat, I think, made a big difference too. Being able
it was huge.
to comment on it, your thoughts, and then discussion with other people even during it, just like with these Twitch streams, was really engaging, I think.
At its peak, the Discord chat felt like reading The Matrix.
Or like Jackal says, they could get lost in the ARG and miss all the talks.
Yep, that was the thing that happened. But that's like part of what we were striving for, and we're going to still continue to do this, is you have some control over your own destiny. We're going to go and plant a whole bunch of paths for you, and you can watch the talks. You can play the game. You can play the game, the ARG that Augie Yield
Yeah, blame a copy kid.
Okay. You can you can play games. You can go and talk to the vendors and the sponsors, and you can do all of this stuff, or you can just hop into chats and talk to other people that you want to from the community. Like, my favorite thing at most conferences is the hallway track, where I just have interesting conversations with friends and make new friends, and that's my favorite thing to do. And that was what I ended up loving about the bar scene at the end, was it was so much fun to meet people who I hadn't met, people I'd interacted with over like Facebook and the like, and it's because it's just a good community of people. So anyway,
we should probably wrap this up soon. We have hit the 90-minute mark, which is amazing. But it was so much fun. And wait, do we have time, David, for you to give us an update on the mystery letter writer?
The mystery letters. So for those of you who are not up to speed on the last episode of this, the weirdness that is my life, we just started getting these envelopes on our front doorstep every Tuesday morning, or Tuesday mornings every other week, I think. Inside is, and they're not like left in our mailbox; they're left on our lowest step on our front, on our front stoop. Each one includes a handwritten letter. This one, the first one, reads, "Failure in and of itself is not bad, is not a bad thing. But failing to learn from it is inexcusable. Heart, have a good day." The second one was very similar. "Forget past mistakes, forget failures, forget everything except what you're going to do now and do it. Heart, have a good day." Since then, there have been two more.
What?
Yep, these are now showing up in purple lettering. This one says, "Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now without delay. Heart, have a good day." These all have 3 exclamation points, by the way.
You're being sold something. I'm waiting for there to be like the ad of the fourth one of you buy into something.
Yeah. And the latest one, which arrived yesterday, the question should be, is it worth trying to do, not can it be done? Which, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty much just living that anyway. So,
Augie, is this you, Augie? Is this the long game for the Recon ARG? Is this the beginnings of a bizarre ARG?
I badly want this to be a puzzle, but in all reality, it probably is just someone proselytizing and wanting to convert me to some religion, which is going to be a really big letdown. And when that comes, gonna let them know how let down I am that it wasn't a puzzle.
It's gonna be Cthulhu. You're gonna have a little squid on your doorstep, like
That
next
would-
month.
If they were trying to convert me to some religion praising Cthulhu, that would be more interesting. But I think it's gonna be a lot less interesting than that.
Well, keep us updated. I am thoroughly enjoying these. You should post them in the channel in the Discord.
I will. Yeah, I'll take some pictures. Yeah, it's been weird. We're still trying to figure out what we're gonna do to respond to these things. We're trying to debate if we want to. Part of us really wants to give them a puzzle, but I'm pretty sure they just won't engage because I don't think this is a puzzle, and I'm really, really heartbroken about it.
I'm hoping like 3 or 4 other people jump on this to make it a puzzle, and you get even more of them in like weird chains of messages. That's what we really need.
That is what we need. Yeah, we just need to put these out on the internet and let people turn them into a puzzle. That's what we need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we are at a time, but thank you so much, Mark, for coming on and for whipping up this incredible, super fun audio escape adventure.
Totally. It was a blast. I'm glad we can make something fun that we can play and kind of showcase. Gabe is amazing at making art, and I got it like everyone else at Trapped. That's helped kind of. We've got an amazing management staff and game master staff. Some of them played this one and have done tons to kind of get us where we are with these really cool experiences.
You and your crew are just so impressive and so much fun, and if you haven't if like everyone in chat, if you haven't played, like, find the one that appeals to you the most and dive in. And if you have played, find another one that appeals to you and dive in. They're all fun, and they're all so different.
I put the link in the chat. Yeah, I put the link in the chat. It is Trapped Puzzle Rooms, and their website is trappedpuzzlerooms.com. Request Mark if you can. But yeah, go try them out. They are so much fun.
I also put the link in for specifically the audio rooms. Check all our stuff out. We've got some new mail stuff that we do. We've got a cool thing on Telescape, which if you've played some audio or some Avatar rooms, you've kind of seen that as the back end. We've got a room that runs entirely on there. There's no narrator, called Furlock Homes that Gabe made and wrote. That's just got, again, adorable art. If you do that, we do have some pre-recorded voices. I am a security guard duck, so you can enjoy that as well. As David and I discussed when he played Spirit Train, yep, I love ducks. I have mine up there. I lit it even. There it is. I have a lit puzzle duck up there. So yes, come check that stuff out. We do lots of cool, fun stuff.
If you two are interested in a puzzle duck, I'm going to put that in the chat, because my goal in life is to proselytize the gospel of the puzzle duck.
Do you guys also do the Trapped Takeout series? Is that you guys too?
Yeah, I've designed a little bit for those. Amy Perkle's the one that kind of heads those up. We did the pizza. I don't remember the name of the pizza box. It's got a long name. Taco Tuesday, and then we just announced the Spielberger box set.
I'm going to review that for the Hive Mind. I'm so excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. I designed one of the sections. I won't tell you which one. You can figure it out on your own if you want to. But yeah, Amy does the work on all those and sends those out and creates those and is the mastermind behind that. And they're a ton of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so if you guys take a chance, check it out. That is audioescapeadventures.com. And Mark, where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
Yeah, you can follow Trapped at Play Trapped. We're on, that's at least the Twitter handle. We're on Facebook as well. You can follow me specifically at Larson, which is my first and last name without vowels. So,
you disemboweled yourself?
I unvoweled myself. That's right. Yep. Disemboweled. That's very good. Disemboweled.
I think Guinea Jardin from Boing Boing came up with that long ago. That's where I heard it from.
So yeah, Trap posts a bunch of stuff. I'll post a couple things in a couple days and then take a couple days break. I'm still learning how Twitter works. But come over there. I like to post fun stuff and chat and whatnot. So come over and have a good time.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a super, super fun show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Have a good one.